Tonight on Q2, new details come to light.
Into the horror at the Montana Club.
We'll hear why one person is claiming that the Montana Club shooter may have actually saved his life.
Plus, bullying in Laurel schools.
I have no words. I really don't.
I really don't want to walk into my kid being one of those.
Parents now demanding action after they pulled their kids out of class.
And a day to honor and remember.
Some kind of hairy experiences along the way.
We'll hear from a World War II veteran as we look back at the attack on Pearl Harbor.
The MTN News starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger.
And I'm Andrea Lutz. We have new information tonight detailing those tense moments before a shot was fired at the Montana Club restaurant last week, injuring a man and scaring customers.
This as the man who suffered that gunshot wound to the chest is charged with assault with a weapon in violation of a protection order. His name is Daniel Broussard. And tonight, these charging documents shed a lot more light on the frightening circumstances that played out at the popular restaurant, including how one person believes his life was saved by the man who shot Broussard. It was just after 6 last Wednesday evening when police began receiving multiple calls that someone had been shot outside the Montana Club and that a man had been outside the restaurant with a firearm. Police arrived minutes later to find Daniel Wayne Broussard outside the front doors with what appeared to be a gunshot wound to the chest, a woman crying and screaming over him. In court documents, witnesses described what happened in the minutes before the shooting. An employee stated that Broussard, the defendant, had been inside having a few drinks with the woman before ordering food to go. The employee says Broussard came back later, saying an item was missing and became unruly, yelling at staff and customers. One customer said he tried to intervene when he heard a male screaming and hollering at a female by the front door. He told police that Broussard told him he was going to his car to get his gun, and when Broussard came back with what he believed was a gun in his waistband, he swung and hit him. The witness said he believed Broussard was going to shoot him. That's when he heard a bang and thought he or someone else beside him had been shot. It turned out it was Broussard who had been hit in the chest with a bullet fired by another man who confirmed that he had fired the shot and then threw the handgun in some bushes. The incident is still under investigation, but the witness told police that he'd been staring down the barrel of a gun and the individual who shot the defendant saved his life. Police say officers reviewed surveillance video which shows Broussard retrieving the gun, attempting to re-enter the restaurant, then falling to the ground after being shot. The documents also show that the woman who was with Broussard the night that he was shot had a protective order against him, and that Broussard was prohibited from being within 300 feet of her.
On the heels of several threats of violence at Billings West High School, we have yet another one to tell you about tonight. The Billings School District says a student was arrested for making a threat to shoot up senior high, sending it out on social media. According to the district, the threat was left on a bathroom stall, and the school resource officer was able to identify the suspect after an investigation. The student is facing charges of intimidation and taken to youth services. As for those threats at West High, well, officials say no violent incidents were reported at the school today, but more than half of the parents kept their kids at home as a precaution. Superintendent Greg Upham tells us 1,350 West High students were absent today out of a total of 2,280. Well, the first threats came in last week after a hate symbol was drawn on a bathroom stall. Then yesterday, an additional message was posted in a girl's bathroom. Billings police increased their presence as a precaution.
Well, parents in Laurel are sounding the alarm, and what they say is a bullying issue at Laurel schools. They say it's so bad they're pulling their kids from the district.
Yeah, and the data actually backs up their concern, with the National Bullying Prevention Center saying 1 in 5 students around the nation report some sort of bullying.
But as our Kelsey Marison found out, parents are now demanding schools do more.
Bullying in schools is nothing new, but it's much more pervasive than it once was. And now not only happens in the classroom, but on social media.
My kid, who went from adoring going to school, it was the highlight of his day, would cry in the morning. I don't want to go to school.
You'll find it happening in nearly every school in every state. But Amber Penny says bullying has especially become a problem here in the Laurel Public School District. So much so, she pulled her 8-year-old from class and started homeschooling.
Then he tells us out on the playground there's a kid throwing shoes at them, and being mean and pushing them down.
And the Pennies aren't alone.
My now 16-year-old has asthma, and one of the other kids on the playground stole her inhaler and started just spraying it.
Alicia Victor says her children have also been bullied, and so does Samantha Willis.
He's coming home crying every day. He doesn't want to go back to school because of it.
According to the Anti-Bullying Alliance, 40% of all young people have been bullied in the last 12 months. It's a big problem that leaves a lasting impact.
When our body is under that amount of stress and anxiety, that there can be things like stomach aches, headaches, difficulty sleeping, any number of things that kind of come out from those negative impacts.
Desiree Meismer is a counselor at Yellowstone Counseling Center. She says parents and teachers can help best by listening.
Who are their safe people? Who can they talk to both at school and at home and within, their friend groups? It's really important the kids know that they're heard.
As for the allegations of bullying here in the Laurel School District, we reached out to Superintendent Matt Torx to discuss them, but he declined our request for an interview. That's one reason these parents say they're frustrated and are taking action, worried bullying could lead to depression or even worse, thoughts of suicide.
My husband and I just decided it's not worth his mental safety. I really don't want to walk into my kid being one of those kids.
In Laurel, Kelsey Marison, MTN News.
'Tis the season for porch pirates. With the holiday season now upon us, many of us are sending gifts to loved ones. And if you're worried about those packages potentially being stolen off your property, the Billings Crime and Prevention Center has a solution that'll give you peace of mind.
I just think it's a pretty dishonest thing to do. It's a crappy thing to do.
It happens almost every day. Porch pirates swooping in to steal someone else's property. But as Elia Townsend watched video of it happening on her doorstep, it became personal.
I can't imagine what would have happened if my husband had been home. He missed him by 4 minutes, so I don't think it would have ended well.
Townsend posted this security video on Facebook, and others started chiming in. At least 3 people claiming to have had packages stolen by the same man. And Billings police see it too.
People work during the day, generally, and that's when those packages are delivered. So criminals, thieves, kind of came into that and realized think about how easy it'd be to go case a neighborhood and see what time the FedEx truck shows up.
Billings police don't have exact numbers as to how many packages are stolen from doorsteps and mailboxes this time of year, but the thefts add up.
It was a new Samsung 5 watch, and it was about $260.
Fortunately, there's a solution, at least during the holiday season here in Billings.
When you order a package online, instead of putting your home address in, you put our address. It's 2910 3rd Avenue North Crime Prevention Center.
For a second straight year, the Billings Police Department's Crime Prevention Center is offering this space to store packages until they can be picked up.
It still goes under your name. And instead of that package getting delivered to your house and sitting out on your front steps for the taking, it's delivered to our office. We secure it.
A way to stop thieves in their tracks and to hopefully prevent what happened to Elia Townsend from happening to others.
I'm sure they're just driving around and looking for the packages out on the porches, so they know everybody's at work during the day, so it's prime time. He was at our house at about 4.
In Billings, Phil Van Pelt, MTN News.
The Stockton Bank weather cam for tonight. Let's take a look and see where those temperatures ended up. -1 for the coldest reading first thing this morning. We've hit it all the way up to 39 after that. That's the coldest that it has been at the Billings Airport so far this season. Of course, no additional snowfall, no precipitation. The winds, a little bit of a factor as we got into the afternoon. Regionally, we're looking at temperatures now look at this dividing line where we have single digits to low teens here in areas across eastern Montana, but 20s, 30s. The colder air is starting to be scoured out and pushing off towards the east. So you see the difference here, even from Canada all the way into North Dakota, single digit temperatures. The cold is leaving. So what's next? Details coming up.
It may be December, but it's actually time to dust off those swimming suits. It's almost time for the Billings Polar Plunge.
Yeah, be a little cold, but as our Diane Parker explains in tonight's Positively Montana, it's all for a very good cause.
Positively Montana is sponsored by Yellowstone Valley Electric Cooperative.
I'm here in Billings at Dayless Stadium on a very cold day in December, but come this April when the weather warms up a little bit, this is exactly where the athletes for Montana's Special Olympics will meet up for the area competition, gearing up for the Montana State competition in Bozeman this year. But before all of that can happen, the weather must get a lot colder to help raise funds for the annual Polar Plunge.
Jumping in ice-cold water in the dead of winter may not be on your bucket list, but perhaps it should be.
Anybody that wants to plunge in the water with us can. They just have to sign up.
Polar plunges are a major fundraiser for Special Olympics Montana. Organizers hope the one this weekend in the REI parking lot in Billings raises $38,000 with the money directly benefiting local athletes like Anna.
It's really an incredible organization, and it's definitely changed my life.
Anna is a returning Special Olympics Montana athlete competing in multiple sports. She'll be joining in on that frigid fun and hopes you will too, so the athletes can travel to state free of charge.
It's really cool to meet all sorts of people all over the state and compete in different kind of events, and it not only becomes just like friends, they become more of a family. You not only get to learn things about yourself, things you may not have thought that you would be good at. Like, for instance, you look at me and you're like, oh, clearly she's not a runner, but I slay at the basketball court.
MTN's Casey Conlon is ditching the suit jacket for a swimsuit to take the plunge. And if you want to make his or anyone's water a little colder, you can, and it's all for the cause.
We will have bags of ice, so if you have somebody that's jumping in and you want to make it a little bit colder, you can buy bags of ice.
If you'd like to participate, mark your calendar for December 10th at 2 p.m. Visit this story on our website to sign up. In Billings, Diane Parker, MTN News.
Still ahead on the MTN 530 News here on Q2.
Former teammates getting ready to face off against each other on the hardwood, so we're going to catch up with those athletes of the week in just a bit.
But coming up first.
I'm Alina Howder. It's been 81 years since the attack on Pearl Harbor, and you'll hear from one World War II veteran on his experiences during the war, coming up.